I think about embracing, because for some people it's really hard to accept that their child has a disability, especially some of the dads. When you look at them, and they don't always share. When you look at most interviews or commercials with the mother and the father, who's talking most? The mother. And if the dad do talk, it's amazing what he talks about, his pain also. That pain is like something was taken away from him that he didn't expect. They're so used to putting in 100% in their children. And I said, where is that even -1% from 100 that belongs to you? Your goal is to find the time, whether it's in the morning when the child is sleeping, whenever, to fill your cup, to make sure that you are being saturated with the love, whether it's from a higher being, whether it's from devotion, meditation, or whatever. So when you start filling yourself in, it's such an amazing feeling. It's such an amazing aura. Like, I'm always glowing. I tell people's like me, you're always smiling. I'm like, I was walking down the street and this woman said to me, oh my God, you have such an amazing smile. She said, every time I see you, people, you don't realize people notice you when you're walking places. She said, you're always smiling. I said, why not smile? There is so much, despite whatever is going on in this world, we have to create that beautiful oasis of what needs to be.
We need to talk a little bit about the mission of My Time Inc. So one of the reasons why we're having this podcast episode together is exactly what you just talked about, creating that free, that safe space for our parents to be able to disconnect from the challenges that they face every day in supporting their children. Why don't you tell us a little bit about My Time and the mission that you guys are on, but more importantly, the safety that you're creating for those safe places for parents and why that's so important.
Oh my gosh, the creation of My Timing began 18 years ago. As you told, my background, I'm an educator, special educator. And then I received my certificate of applied behavior analysis from Penn State. And I started working in the homes of the parents of children with autism. While working in the homes, I was seeing the frustration, the lack of support from the family, sometimes from the family unit, that lack of support giving each family the ability to grow and be the best they can be. So I was working with this amazing family, and while working with this family, the mom passed away. So when she passed away, I came home, I told my husband, we got to do something. We got to do something for these parents who lack the support that they really need. And opened my basement. We opened our basement and started working with the families, teaching them the skills that they need to help reduce their children's behavior. But while I was doing that, I said something was missing. We got to have some fun and game, because it can't be always about reducing the behavior and missing out on the fun. So we started having guests come in. I love to cook. So I'll make a meal. And we'll all sit together and they will eat. And I said, what do you all really need? What can we do to create a space that makes you feel as though, look, I'm growing. There is hope. We're not alone. And then we created the My Timing. My husband came out with the name. I'm like, what should we call this amazing vision that we have for parents? And he said, My Time is regaining, recapturing, reinventing their time. So they have this special safe space where they can come and not only share their emotion, that emotional self-care piece about themselves, to talk about what it is like mentally having a child and how society sees them sometimes, because some people, society look at them as like, oh my gosh, you didn't have, what kind of child is this that you have? But one thing we teach them at My Timing in a safe space is that their child is a gift. So creating this safe space where you can come to and find, I remember we were bouncing from places to places until we finally found our location right now here in Brooklyn with a beautiful terrace, so our parents can come and feel, you know what? I feel safe. I have other parents that I can talk to who are going through the same thing. And that was so amazing to see the connection. So henceforth, My Time Inc. was birthed in 2007. My husband came up with the name, but we knew we wanted to do something that left a legacy, left a mark for that parent who passed away, because she was such a strong advocate, but she was getting burnt out. And through that burnt out, she died. So it gave me such great joy, and talking to my husband, him being so supportive in that vision that I had. And he became a part because we worked together. And it's such, I don't want to say work, he volunteers his time, because you know what, that's a whole non-for-profit world. So he volunteers all his time investing, and this is part of the birth. Part of the birth, went through the pregnancy and then gave birth in 2007. So 18 years later, we have seen the child now becomes a young adult, and after 18, you're a young adult. And as we grow, it's like so amazing. I cannot imagine what we have created and what we have seen in our parents blossoming from each other and with each other. And one of the things we created recently was the accountability partners, where each friend, it was so funny today, I was talking to her parent, she said, oh my gosh, I have to call that parent, I didn't check in on her today. And that is amazing. I look forward to so many amazing things happening. I don't know where God is taking me, but I know where we are going. He is leading the way.
It's so beautiful to hear somebody who is advocating and innovating when it comes to supporting the community of family members who truly need it. Now, one of the things that I think is necessary for us to be able to kind of talk about here and kind of paint the picture of the problem that or the challenges that our community is facing is, as of this year, I work in the state of Nevada, Las Vegas. One of our partners here is called the Grant a Gift Autism Foundation. I talk about them here a lot on the podcast. When I first started engaging with this organization back in 2018, we were about 1 in 56 children were being born with autism. As of this year, 2024, 1 in 36 children are being diagnosed and born with autism. Okay? That is a huge incremental increase in the amount of diagnosis that we're finding in our communities. Yes. But when you multiply that times mom and dad, how many families and parents are being affected by needing to care for their child? So it's not just about services, but it's about a whole family view of how can we surround them with a sense of community, empathy, and connection that often they feel like they don't get because of their situation being so unique to everybody else around them.
That's so true, because people look at just the child. Like you were saying, it affects entire families. When I started doing this like 30 years ago, and I got my degree, and I started working with the families and looking at the families falling apart. There was such a blame game. Oh, it's your family. No, it's your family. Somebody in the family has to have it. Why did it happen in our family? And so you see the dysfunctionality because everyone is angry. I'm like, you don't get a break, because some depends on the autism spectrum. It is a spectrum. It moves from different levels. So if you have a child who might be quite behavioral in the aspect of having some behavioral challenges, like the kicking, the spitting, the biting, there's some behaviors that even as a parent is like, oh my gosh, sometimes the parents feel embarrassed about the whole situation. And I think now what we're seeing 1 in 36 is because I think families are being more open in sharing, and the diagnosis is being hopefully properly evaluated on children, and more clinics or doctors are being truthful and straightforward with families. Because even as an educator, in my heart, how can I tell you as a parent your child has a disability? And even the professionals are afraid to say it, because everybody's afraid of being sued or something's going to happen. But even when I see the families that I serve, I'm like, you have to look at your family as a gift. How are you going to take care of that gift? Who are you presenting your gift to? How are you unwrapping that gift? The love you put into really raising your child. And I understand, I tell parents, I always make a disclaimer. I don't have a child with disability, but I don't know why this passion and this purpose came in me, and meeting that one parent who passed away really changed my life so much. And I saw, I told my husband, when I was doing this in 2007, this is my purpose and my passion. This was given to me in any way or form, whether from the universe, whether from a higher being. It was just given to me. And the compassion and the empathy that I feel, I remember there was a time I was like actually feeling the pain of the family. It came so much, my husband's like, you need to pull back and you need to take care of you, because it can be overwhelming when you feel that pain, when you look into that mother's eyes or the father's eyes and feeling disappointed because my child, especially if the parents are professionals, doctors or lawyers, and your firstborn could be a boy, and that's the wish for most parents, I want to have a doctor, a lawyer, this wonderful being, and then the doctor says to you, you have a child with disability. That blow, that grief. And one thing I'm grateful for, studying human services and social work, looking at the 7 stages of death, it's like a 7 stage of death that they have to go through all the emotions. And finally, I don't even like to use the word acceptance, really. I think about embracing, because for some people it's really hard to accept that their child has a disability, especially some of the dads, when you look at them and they don't always share. When you look at most interviews or commercials with the mother and the father, who's talking most? The mother. And if the dad do talk, it's amazing what he talks about, his pain also. That pain is like something was taken away from him that he didn't expect. So how do we tell a parent, what can you do? And some parents say, we can fix it. There's no fixing, I tell parents. There are strategies that you can place in your home with the therapists who come into your home, with the caregivers who are in your home, so they can help you alleviate and decrease the behaviors that are so unacceptable, because you get embarrassed to take your children out. I remember I had one family, doctors, and they couldn't go out, they won't go out. So I started doing the training. We're going to pretend this is a restaurant at home. We're just going to sit for a few seconds. We don't sit for a whole second, until we were able to actually go out at a restaurant. And I could have seen that dad's face, the beaming of joy that his son actually sat in a restaurant without throwing things or making noise, and just enjoying their food. So that's the things I love to see. When I see my parents smiling, when I see that there's a light go off and there's hope, listen, I have just scored $1 million and more.
Are parents hesitant when they first discover the great work that you're doing at My Time? Do you feel like they're coming out of a fog, maybe of feeling like they're alone and isolated, and they have a newfound support group that they weren't able to before access or even imagine?
Listen, the great is when they come in and they see who I am. First of all, even speaking on the phone, I think they don't believe who I am when I speak on the phone, because they say your voice, you sound so compassionate or understanding of the situation. I'm like, honey, come on down, come over, let's talk. And when they really meet me, like, oh my gosh, you're the person. I'm like, I'm who I am. This is who I am, Keenan. I don't intend to change. I change in things that is helping me grow and become a better person. But when I see people, I grew up with my grandma. I'm only daughter from my mom. I grew up with my grandmother, and she was always a person that instilled, no matter whoever a person is, you show love. You show love. It doesn't matter who it is. When I tell people, when the moment you press the bell to come into My Time in the hallway, there is love. You come into the elevator, there is love. You walk through the hallway, there's a love. So time you come to the door, I will see some parents who walk in and they'll be like, and when they see who I am too, as a Black woman, and my staff and whoever, and they're like, you could see like a weight off their shoulder. And then I say, welcome, come in, have a seat. Would you like a cup of tea or something? And they look at me like, is this for real? And I love to see, I always tell my assistant, she is such an amazing mama. She came into my organization nearly 15 years ago. I remember she said to me, why did you choose me? I said, I didn't choose you. You were chosen to be here. And right now, she's one of the most amazing mothers, the support. So when they walk in and they see who I am and they see the space and they have doubts. They really do have doubt that this really exists. And I instill in them, this is about you. There are too many agencies, organizations out there that cater to your children. They are paid big bucks. They are given big grants to spend time with your children, to make sure your children get the resources they need, the services they need. This is about you. I remember one lady told my husband, for real, I can't come. It's nothing for my child. I said, well, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm not going to change. I tell everyone, I'm not going to change my mission or my vision to create an amazing special place for you parents. It's about you. You're going to learn it. You're going to learn that you are valued. You are worthy. You are not alone. There are places, I mean, I don't know if there's any around, but I know we have a space that when you walk in, you're definitely not alone.
That feeling of being seen and validated and heard has to be something that often these parents don't get to experience, because like you said, as soon as your child is given a diagnosis that proves that they are going to need support for the rest of their life, often I feel like parents are very selfless in saying, now it is my time to serve my child. And how
Yes.
often do they have somebody like you who is willing to stand up and say, this is about you. You're here. We're here to serve you. That has to be a game changer for so many of these families.
Yeah, because, they're so used to putting in 100% in their children. And I said, where is that even minus 1% from 100 that belongs to you? Your goal is to find the time, whether it's in the morning when the child is sleeping, whenever, to fill your cup, to make sure that you are being saturated with the love, whether it's from a higher being, whether it's from devotion, meditation, or whatever. So when you start filling yourself in, Keenan, it's such an amazing feeling. It's such an amazing aura. Like, I'm always glowing. I tell people's like me, you're always smiling. I'm like, I was walking down the street and this woman said to me, oh my God, you have such an amazing smile. She said, every time I see you, people, you don't realize people notice you when you're walking places. She said, you're always smiling. I said, why not smile? There is so much, despite whatever is going on in this world, we have to create that beautiful oasis of what needs to be. And that's what we do at My Timing. I remember last week we did a sip and paint and I surprised them. I made pina coladas for every one of the women. And they were like, I said, honey, that's what I do. Because I know I want to be pampered. I know I love to feel beautiful and be treated. Even the men. I'm listening, honey, my husband makes sure he takes them out and do things with them also, because it's really tough on the fathers, and especially some of the fathers who are not with the mothers and they're on their own. And now I have a lot of fathers trying to reconnect, and be a part of their children's lives. And I am working on that so hard, because the love of a father is just as great, and especially if it's a male. I tell my parents, how could you teach a male to use a bathroom if you're a female? You can't.
You can,
You
yeah.
need that support. So we are working on that now and getting our fathers so involved and letting them know, you know what, you two are not alone. And there are moments you'll feel like that.
What are some ways in which you're really trying to hammer home this sense of community? I know in our previous conversation you talked about some outings, and I feel like they were beautiful stories that I feel like we need to share again, or other examples of stories just like that, where you took the families, the moms, the dads on trips where they could do things like go to the spa or go to sporting
Yeah.
events.
Oh my gosh, that going that day to the spa. They look forward. So we normally do the spas during our summer because it's nice outdoor. You go to the pools and whatever. Last week, I told the parents we're going to this place called the World Spa. So awesome, so beautiful. We got there and they had their beautiful white robes, and just coming in and being there is so awesome. So, so awesome to see their faces, the first time they're there, just signing their names, walking into the room and changing their clothes. It was the most amazing thing that I see. And the families, the women just connecting. That makes my work so wonderful, Keenan. Whatever it is out there, every day I am in gratitude to know that I can do something like this. Some parents have never been to a spa, never had the time to connect with other parents and to see them all. And we were so blessed that day. We got a cabana, and the concierge gave us an extra one. So it was 18 of us in this cabana and was served. And the treatment to see these ladies just sitting there basking and glowing. I'm like, y'all need to take a lot of pictures to show your husbands if there's any. They were so beautiful. I'm like, I sit there and look at them. I say, Lord, I just thank you. I thank you for this vision that I can see. I want to create so many of these in different states. And I see that happening. For the past few months, I've been getting little signs of things that need to be done. And I'm going away for my little vacation. And while I'm there, I know it will be revealed just the way it should be.
It has to also weigh kind of heavy knowing that you are someone who so intentionally serves others. Do you often take enough time for yourself to be able to reflect on the things that you've accomplished?
Of
Because one of my
course,
favorite sayings is it's difficult to pour from an
of,
empty cup.
of course. One of the things I realize in myself is taking time for me. That's why I go to the gym at 5:15 in the morning. We have a group of, I have a group of workout buddies that are so awesome. That fills me in such a way that I leave there more energized than anything else. Energized in so many ways, Keenan. People say to me, where you get that energy from? What energy you have there? I'm like, the energy is great because I'm able to do what I have to do. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I just want to be able to always be in that space. Excuse me. Wait. To be in that space. That's my husband. To be in that space. I just want you to say hi. I'm like invading Keenan's time. Hello. He's like part of the whole picture. So just to be able to take the time for myself is my 5:15 in the morning classes. Just to be able to be in my own community. Because when we go to the gym, every single time we are given little phrases and little gratitude phrases to read. And as we do that, it invigorates me because I stay in the gym till like 6:30. Then I come back and make my little breakfast and do what I need to do. And I'm ready for work. I'm ready. I go to work. I sit on my deck and I am in such a different space, Keenan. I have to do that for me because I cannot teach it and not do it for myself. That's hypocritical. I have to do it. I have to spend the time. And I love my little backyard on my front door, my front porch. And I sit there and I go into my own world because I need to do that. I need to know that I am worthy just as much as I'm giving worthiness to others. That I am filled, so whatever I have overflowing, I can give to you. I love being me. Like I tell people, I should be the skinniest person in the world. I've always been a big girl. I love it. I love how I feel. And I want each person, every single woman that we work with, it don't matter what size you are. It comes from here. When you do things the right way from here and here, everything flows. Your beauty just flows. And beauty is from inside. Look, I love my makeup and I love my dressing up. But naturally, who I am is from inside. And I tell people, whether I wear makeup or not, my beauty will always shine. Because that's what we need to do, Kina. We need to let our families know that they are not alone. So I love it.
I heard a saying recently that said, it's an amazing day when you start to recognize that life comes from you, not at you. but that
Yes.
takes time.
It does take time, and that's when I created my Divas journal, looking at the women because I was looking at them and I was seeing the not loving themselves, the not discovering themselves. So the Divas is called it's a journal. It's a D for discover, I for invest, V is variety, being open minded, A is authentic, and S is your true self. So how many of us are discovering and investing? I tell people I discover me every single day. My flaws, my good times, my bad times. I invest by getting up early in the morning, going to the gym. You think I want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning? But I have to do it because that's for my sanity. So I invest myself in the time for me. I am very open minded. I will try things. It's unbelievable. My parents, when I talk to them, I'm like, you're going to do this today? Like, what? I say, yes, you're going to do it. You're going to try something new. And then I believe in authenticity in everything I do. Listen, I am who I am. I'm as honest as I can be. I tell people, when you live a fake life, you can never enjoy it. You can't. And then S, my true self. Am I really reflecting on who I am as a person and my entire being? So that way I created that. So when the women are talking, having conversation, where is that self? Where is that true self? Because as women, as men too, you're wearing the mother hat, the father hat, the wife hat, the girlfriend hat, the partner hat. You wear so many hats. When will you put down those hats and do the self hat and look at you? Look in that mirror. We are afraid to look at ourselves in the mirror because we're afraid of what we see. Because I always tell people, your eyes are the window to the soul. And that's how I see the parents I serve, through their eyes. And sometimes they walk in and I'm like, I'll tell my husband, oh my God, this is such a heavy one.
Mm.
Because they come in with all these baggages. I say, you can imagine if I was working in JetBlue with all those baggages you all bring, $40 a bag, I'll be rich, with all the baggages that you have. So I said, listen, we have to release. I don't expect you to drop all the bags one time. Just drop one at a time. Which bag is less of a priority to you? Which bag, when you drop that, will allow you the space and time to be you? Which bag can you drop that you're saying, you know what? I can't be doing this all alone anymore. There are supports and I'm willing to open myself to new opportunities.
How do you stay motivated to continue to do this work? I think we've hit on it pretty well, but after 18 years of working in this space, how do you
Faith,
continue to show up? Fate?
faith, because I know I was chosen to do this. I don't know why I say that, but I know I was chosen to fulfill that void, to bring love, to bring joy, to bring laughter. Sometimes I see the parents laugh, and the laughter is such joy in me. I'm like, girl, you could laugh. Like Friday night, I saw some of these parents dance. The 70s dance and what? Oh my God. Kid, I was like, I need to videotape you all. And it was so awesome to see that throwback. And that motivates me. When a parent walk in looking all, oh, and then they're like, ugh, when they leave, that motivates me. When they call me on the phone and say, Miss Clarke, I have something great to tell you, that motivates me. And it comes the right time. Always, because sometimes I may feel despondent, especially coming to the grants, despondent in the financial aspect of the business we do. But when a parent call me and say, Miss Clarke, thank you. Tell Mr. Clarke, thank you. Tell Denise, thank you. We appreciate you. That will make me just have my $1,000,000 in my head, you know? And that's what I long for. I just want the families to have their day, have that joy and that hope. And as the kids grow and they have the right services and the right resources, everyone deserves a bit of joy.
What are we thinking for the future of My Time Inc.? What do we
Oh
think the
my
next
gosh.
2 to 5 years are going to look like? What are we thinking?
Well, one of the things I tell you is I've been having these visions and these signs and these, I don't know what it ever wonders in my mind is like, creating my timing spaces around the country, United States. I mean, I do when I go to Trinidad or Barbados, I do things mainly in Trinidad. I like when I went this Christmas, I did no for the summertime, I did a nice luncheon with some women we do through Zoom, so I was able to meet them. I see my time as this space in so many towns or different states. No, because there are so many people with disabilities all around this world. And if they can find a program like ours right in their backyard, even just once a month, fly to Maryland, even fly to Nevada once a month and come and just bring some light or laughter, joy or something in a space. I envision our couples having date nights and we create these atmospheres because you know what? The parents, they love each other, but the child takes up so much sometimes because their focus is so on Johnny, 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 they forget to see how beautiful each other is. So creating a program like ours, this recreational program, and the advocacy piece is quite important. The only challenge about that is understanding the laws in each state, because each state have different laws, and how things are received and how things are gotten as far as services. But I think in each state, the commonality is knowing that there is a recreational program where couples or parents or grandparents can meet and share, create a community and look forward to seeing each other, whether it's every Sunday night, Monday night, whatever day of the week, to look forward to it while finding the right resources for the children. Also, it's about collaborating with other of the service providers. Making sure they have the respite because I want parents to start to learn their children are going to grow up, Keenan. They're going to grow up. And as they grow up, some of the hard choices that they have to make for their lives. Right now, I have parents, right now at the state, at an age where their children are like 30 and 40, and guess what? They're ready to put their children in residences or homes. Now, how heartbreaking it is for you as a parent, but also you look at where your life has been, where it's going. And I tell parents sometimes they are selfish because they're taking away that independence of their child sometimes. They may not like me sometimes when I say these things, but it's true. We have to allow our children to grow.
Yeah.
And they may say to me, oh, you don't have a child with disability. I say I'd always give it the disclaimer. It's not about that. It's about what your child needs and what do you need. Also, you are getting older and weaker, and your child is getting stronger. We don't want to have to encounter half the stories I have dealt with or have been in places and environments where I don't even want to deal with that. But it's a reality. So I see ourselves 2 to 5 years from now in different states, even if I start once a month now, creating a program like this that I can come in to spaces. Because I know I tell people when I walk into spaces, I am a light. Put on your shades because I'm coming in there so bright that you need your shades. And we got to start uplifting people more. Show love, show more love.
I think you are the perfect embodiment of heart and hustle because I know the work that you do is not easy, but there are people in our communities who cannot or do not feel comfortable enough to raise their hand when they truly need help. And I'm so glad that we have leaders like you who are out there willing to stand up and advocate and empower others because we need it more today, more so than ever. Ms. Clarke, I want to just thank you for everybody who is watching and listening. Thank you so much for sharing your story. The last question that I have for you came from a previous guest. Their question was, why do you love what you do? And if you could change something or do something different, what would it be?
Why do I love what I do? I think it keeps me young. First of all, it keeps you young. When you love what you're doing, it embodies your whole you're embodied in every single way. Because when you love something, it comes from here. It comes from your heart. Your mind, you wake up in the morning, you can't wait to go to the office. You wake up in the morning, you can't wait to get a phone call from a parent that said, oh, thank you. So when I wake up in the morning and I'm in gratitude, I envision my day. I envision my day of love. I envision my day of just having the most amazing time connecting with my families. Despite the obstacles, I know there are obstacles, I know there are challenges, but I love to know that I am making an impact in somebody else's life. And I'm a game changer. I've always said that I'm a game changer. I can be stubborn at things, but if I need something, I am going to go for it. One of the things people think about me, I tell them no means on. I just flip it. Because my degree, I taught dyslexic children. So I'm like, okay, no means on. So when I wake up in the morning, I am not taking a no. I am on the go. So loving what I do is knowing that I'm making an impact in a parent's life, for them to look at themselves in that mirror and say, you know what? I'm not alone. I know there are people out there who care for me. And there's a special place like My Time Inc. When we walk in, we know we walk in love.
So powerful. You are truly, once again, the embodiment of Hart and Hustle, and I cannot thank you enough. For everybody who's tuning in today, once again, watching and listening, this is Miss Clarke. She is the leader who is helping other parents recognize that they need my time too. So thank you once again. That's a wrap.